Hey, cutie pies. I'm Lanikia, and you're watching What Happens on the Soaps. This is General Hospital Edition. Today is May 5th, 2022. And let's just go right into it. On a scale of 1 to 10, you know how we do. I'm going to give this a 7. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7. Stop, mama. Stop, stop, stop. Okay, so it's going to be a really quick review, but let's get things out of the way. So we see that Britt and Terry and Elizabeth are enjoying themselves at the nail spa, and Elizabeth was like, "Oh, I needed this, but girl, who do it? Like, what made you want to do this and all that?" And Terry went ahead and admitted that it was, yes, that Finn was the one behind all this. And Elizabeth was like, "Oh, I'm finna call him now. I'm finna." And Terry said, "Girl, before you do that, you need this, so go ahead and enjoy it." And she was like, "You know what? You're right. Okay." And so Elizabeth started filling Terry in about everything that happened to her, and then about the just everything that happened to her at the hotel, and all of it, because Terry already knew about the ripped dress and everything, but she didn't know all the additional stuff that's been happening to Elizabeth. And she said, "Not for nothing, you look tired and all that." So then we see that Elizabeth starts asking Terry about herself, because she's like, "I don't want to talk about it anymore." Sometimes you just don't want to talk about what's going on, problems in your life. So Terry starts telling her about Chad, and she was like, "He cute, but he had to go away." And I said, "Oh, I remember on Valentine's Day they did this whole thing, and then he had to leave." But anyway, so he came on back. And so now they're going on a date tonight. And she was like, "Okay." So then Amy come, right? And I said, "Amy?" Because when Amy was at the hospital, she told Britt, "Can you cover for me? Epiphany already said it was okay. I'm not feeling well." And I was like, "Girl, you look rather perky not to be feeling well." And she was running at that. So I was like, "Okay, but I guess you don't feel well." But then she went and got a pedicure. And Terry is like, "What are you doing here?" And she said, aren't you supposed to be working tonight?" And she said, "Epiphany already approved it, and Britt and all this." And she said, "But I wasn't feeling well." She said, "What do you mean you wasn't feeling well? I mean, you look fine. The cure to not feeling well is a manicure." And she said, so Amy was like, "A patient died last night, and it was TJ's first, and he took it hard." And I was like, "Okay, Amy, if this was any other job, you would be fired, but okay." And so Elizabeth said, "Stop," because Amy and Terry were going back and forth, back and forth. And Amy was like, "I'm going to go to Monica on you." Terry said, "Go ahead and go. You can file a formal complaint. I don't care. That's me." That's me. I don't care. I'll give you the phone. Here's the number. But anyways, Terry was like, "I don't care. Like, what you're not gonna do is bother me on my off days. That's what you're not gonna do." But anyways, Elizabeth got them to stop, and she said, "Well, thank you, Terry, because you got my mind off of what was going on with me." And so then they get up and leave, and they end up making it back to the hospital, right? And while they're in the hospital, Elizabeth's like, "Listen, come to this place. I need you to come somewhere with me." And she was like, "Where you taking me?" And Elizabeth was like, "You trust me. You know I'm not gonna take you somewhere crazy or whatever." And I said, Elizabeth about to take Terry with her to see the psychic. And so that's what it is, because later on we see Elizabeth call and make an appointment. And Terry was like, "Yeah, I trust you, so I'm gonna go." And so then we see Elizabeth leaves, and then Britt is there because they're at the nursing station. So Terry goes and talks to Britt, and she said, "Why did I see one of the nurse Amy at the pedicure spot?" And Britt said, "Good for her." And she said, "Excuse me?" She said, "They had a rough night last night." And Terry was like, "I understand that, but you can't be blowing off work just to go to pedicure." And she was like, "Oh, I'll talk to," and especially bothering me and talk the way she talks to me. And Britt said, "Listen, I'll talk to her. Don't worry about it. Plus, I'm trying this new thing where I'm trying to be nicer and everything." And Terry was like, "Okay, girl, whatever you want to do, go ahead." And then Britt tells Terry, "I know that's not what you're wearing in your date." And she said, "How you know I got a date?" And then, she says, "I heard her Elizabeth telling you." And she just tells Terry, "Go out, live your life, have fun," or whatever. And she was like, "Okay, I thank you for that," or whatever. "I can't believe that's coming from you, but thank you for that." So Terry's going to go out and enjoy her day with Chet. So then at this point, TJ comes up. Now TJ been talking to Britt this whole time, just about how it was his first patient. He's never lost a patient, and it was a close first patient because of everything that Harmony had done to Alexis, how close Harmony was. And remember, TJ and Molly were there that night when they met. Um, when they were there that night with Harmony, when they said they let Harmony know that Sean told them to keep a watch on her, and Harmony could not have been nicer to them. So it was a conflict because at one point they liked Harmony, but then you just tried to kill my mother-in-law. So it was a mess, all he was feeling, and he just felt sorrow because he really cares for Willow. He likes Willow and everything. And so Britt told him, just go home and be with Molly. And he was like, what? And she was like, I'll cover it. So he calls Molly and she said, yeah, let's have some vegan pizza and curl up and watch a movie and all that kind of stuff. So he said, I'm going to take you up on my offer. I'm going to finish, the rounds and stuff that I got to do. And then I'm going to take you up on your offer. And she said, okay. And then Britt was like, I said, well, Britt, you just, doing it for everybody. She said, well, it ain't like I got anything to do. Nobody waiting for me. I said, when y'all gonna get Britt and Spinelli together? Because that's what y'all gonna do. Because I know people be saying they would see it for Drew, but I don't see it with Drew. I think Drew is for Carly. They're gonna have Drew for Carly, and Britt is gonna get with Spinelli. All right, moving right along. On this episode. Okay, so then we go to Brooklyn is with Michael and Wiley and Carly, and she just tells them, I'm here for you. Let Willow know I care, and I'm sorry everything went on. My condolences and everything. And they're like, thank you so much. And so she leaves, and then she calls Chase because she like, we got a date, not a date, but they got plans for the May the 4th be with you. Force be with you. Before be with you and everything. And he says, oh, I can't make it. And she was like, what, you got a date? And he said, yeah, but I don't think her dad lets her watch PG movies or whatever. And so we see that Chase is with Violet, so he's doing a tea party and everything because she said that's what she wanted to do. And he's got on the little purple tiara and everything. And so they get a knock at the door, and it's Brooklyn, and she brought the lightsabers. And she was like, I'm here, because she was like, it's important to you. So, she remembered it or whatever. And he was like, okay. So they do a little flirting, going back and forth and everything while they're with Violet, and they decide later on that maybe they can watch like the movie later on or something. Yeah, it wasn't much with them. That's my favorite non-couple, but it really wasn't much. It was just a cute little scene to throw in to kind of feel the episode, because there's one thing about General Hospital and Days of Our Lives, more mostly some. What days does it? They're gonna showcase their actors, like they're gonna put them in some scenes. So it was just a little filler for them. All right, so moving right along, we go to Sunny. So Sunny is with so Dante comes, Chet comes, and he's back or whatever, and he's talking to Sunny about Dex, who is the young man that took Chet's place while he was gone. And he's just telling him that was he good, was he okay? And Sunny was like, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a you don't do that day to day, but he was like, he was cool from what I know. I ain't really interact with him much. And he was like, okay, cool. And so then Dante comes up, and Chet leaves because he was like, he could tell that Dante and Sonny were about to talk about something personal. So Dante was like, you haven't heard it? He was like, heard what? And he was like, about Harmony. Harmony attacked Carly and Alexis. And he was like, what? And then he said, Harmony dead. And Sonny was like, what? He was like, and so he was like, let me call Carly. And then he stopped and he said, nah, there used to be a time where this would have happened and they would have automatically called me to let me know, to inform me. And Dante tried to ease it and say they were just busy. Michael's just, he was trying to comfort Willow, Harmony, and Alexis. I mean, Willow, he was trying to comfort Willow. Carly and Alexis were still being checked when I got there. So, and it's the next morning, but he's like, they're probably just getting settled in with, the death of Harmony. He said, nah, if you wanted to contact somebody, you would. And that's the truth, Sonny. And he said, he doesn't want me, and that's okay. That's okay. And so Sonny eventually calls Carly, just to tell, okay, so Dex and Chet come back over and they say, okay, we want to, he wants to say, thank you for working. And he asks Sonny, do you have any more work for me? Dex does. And he's like, I don't care what it is. I'll mop the floors. I'll clean gutters. Paraphrasing. I don't care what it is. I'll mop floors. I'll clean the towels. I'll fold the towels. I'll do whatever you need me to do. Sonny was like, no, okay, I'll keep that in mind. But Chet was like, as far as the gym, like we're fully staffed, so there's no work for you. All right, so two men are in the ring, right? Keep that in mind. So then Sonny gets on the phone and he starts talking to Carly, and he's telling Carly, I'm just checking on you to see if you're okay. I just want to make sure you're okay. And while he's doing that, these two men in the ring, they start going at it real hard. Now Chet is over there with Amy because she came over there to complain about Terry, because I guess she don't realize that Chet and Terry are dating, but she came to complain about Terry and to tell Chet that she can't stand her boss, and that, but that's okay because all she gonna do is ignore her boss or whatever. And Chet was like, yeah, I'm sure she's not that bad. She's like, you ain't gonna even try to take my side or whatever. Now the two men are in the ring, so Chet is with Amy, right? And they start going at it like for real. So that leaves Dex. So Dex gets him in the ring and he breaks him up or whatever. And he wasn't scared to get between them and everything. So Sonny sees this and he was like, okay. And so then Sonny goes and he tells Dex, like, I have, like, there's a position, like, come to my office because there's something I want to talk to you about, a potential position. And Dex was like, okay. So then, before Dante had left, he did talk to Sonny about, are you taking care of yourself? Are you staying off the alcohol? Are you taking your meds? Because the more you isolate, we know you could get into a dark place. And Sonny was like, you know what? I'm good. And I really do think Sonny is good right now. I know everybody, I don't like this Sonny. I don't like this Sonny. I like this Sonny. So I think he's in a better place. And Maurice Bernard done told y'all. But anyways, so that was it with them. Sonny just is going to offer Dex the job. And we know, as far as the spoilers say, he's supposed to be the new Jason on this show. All right, moving right along. So then we go to, I think I've covered everybody. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But then we go to back to Michael and Carly. So Michael is just like, what is going on? Like, he was like, Harmony, why would Harmony attack you and Alexis? What was she trying to hide? And he said, maybe it was because of me. Like, I never warmed up to her. And she was like, Carly was like, no, that's not your fault. Harmony had choices and she made those choices. It was up to her to make those choices or whatever. And so then we see that, they're talking and Dante shows up and he's like, I came to see Willow. And then Willow comes down or whatever. And she was like, Michael says to Wiley she could use a hug. And so he gives her a hug. And they said, Willow, how are you doing? And she said, I just need lots of hugs. So Carly was like, okay, let me give you one, girl. And then Wiley came over and she was like, oh, because he gave her another hug with Carly and all them. Right? And so then Carly says, let me go take Wiley to the main house or whatever. And I'll be back. I thought she meant later. Dante was finna start telling Willow what happened, and Carly come in. What I missed? I said, because Carly ain't gonna miss nothing. So Carly came back and said, "What I missed?" And they said, "We were just about to tell Willow why we think what the investigation has yielded so far." So they tell Willow that Harmony attacked Alexis and Carly at Rona Point, and she was like, "Okay, yes, I know that, but why? My question is why?" And they said they believe it's because files that were found on her in regards to Brandon, and she was like, "Brandon, what does that have to do with anything?" And Carly said, "I found files that held a secret about you, Willow, that Brandon uncovered, and it was from Neil." And it was like, so Dante said she killed Brandon, and she was like, what? Why would she kill Brandon? And they said, well, he was brothers to Neil, and he found out the secret. And she was like, and plus he found out she killed Neil, and Michael and Willow are like, wait a minute, what? And Dante said yes, and they were like, why would she do this? And Dante said, well, she had murdered before. And that's what he was telling them about, her doing all that, and she was like, well, why would she do this? Why would she try to kill Carly and them and then kill Brandon? And it was like she murdered before, and that's when they told her about Neil, right? So they were like, oh my gosh. And so then Willow was just puzzled. She was like, what secret is it? Like, what is it? And they said, well, the secret is that you are not Willow's biological child. Like you were not Willow's. I mean, you were not Harmony's biological child, Willow. You were not Harmony's child, and that's the secret that she was trying to cover up, and the one that she was willing to kill for. So and that's how it ended. So Harmony, and then oh wait, Carly thinks back to when Harmony told her who was the actual biological mother, which is Nina, to Willow. And I don't know if Carly is going to tell or not. I Carly is so open that I want to believe she's going to tell, but I don't know. Maybe she tells and they all decide to keep it a secret from Nina. You never know what could happen, so I don't know. But we'll see on tomorrow's episode of General Hospital. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I will see you tomorrow for the final episode of the week.